Mortenzi, speak right.
This is right. This is the rightest language of all.
Sounds like you're speaking troll or something.
Do trolls speak this language? I don't know.
Well, trolls talk,
They
I
are
think.
blessed. I've never talked to a troll.
Yeah, we'll be lucky. We fought trolls once. Ugh. You know what's worse about them? Not how they talked. They fucking stank when we burned them.
Oh. Why did you burn them?
Because they're trolls.
So?
Fucking stupid gnome. Knows nothing. I'll explain to you why we burned
I
them.
know Zorbinius. Zorbinius knows.
I'll switch wagons too if you don't shut up about Zorbinius.
Zintakamachnahan and Francois de Babu.
No, that is not how Abyssal sounds like.
I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Bibbidi goobity goobity, a little bit of French in there.
Skibbity bop 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 bop.
That's Abyssal.
That's a missile.
All right. So you know the fuck out of Beric Tarn and Roger for different reasons. He didn't want to tell you why you burned trolls. Perhaps he doesn't know. You guys did not have a lot of ranks of knowledge nature in your crew. You end up traveling a little bit out of your way. At first you thought you were going to Vatapol, but instead you were taking a slight detour through the Duchy of Vade, which is an agrarian part industrious duchy. Like, you don't see a lot of people that are, at least in the countryside, that are having problems. However, you do come across some very large... You could tell the difference between the local farming community and the imperial plantation, and there seems to be a much different way of going about agriculture in the Imperium. The local farms might only produce crops that they need themselves, which probably makes them not too rich, whereas the plantations are massive manor, low stone walls, and great fields worked by many slaves. You are actually headed towards one of these plantations, the Gladswell plantation, which was owned by the Count, and now has it is part of the holdings of the Countess, and you are a good, probably a 5-day ride outside of Vatapol at this point. The Giantswell farms include a number of buildings and almost like a small town, a small farming village unto itself. It appears that they farm wheat, barley, and hops. They have their own brewery, as well as a tavern attached to the brewery, and then their own tobacco plantation where they grow and prepare tobacco for transport. The roly-poly, well-dressed halfling woman by the name of Aunt Polly runs the house when the nobles are not there. You get the sense from a lot of the servants and slaves that her word is law in the household itself. There is a scarred half-orc that seems to be in charge of the farming crews and the slaves, and an old halfling by the name of Bartholomew that seems to be a permanent fixture inside the house brewery at the Giantswell Farms. You guys are given quarters that are there. All of the servants recognize the Countess. Many of them might not have seen her since the time of the death of her count. They offer her condolences. She accepts them. She orders Aunt Polly to prepare a large meal for all those in the caravan, and decides to give you one of the converted lodges to just the gladiators themselves, whereas Master Ratimer is given quarters inside the house. The lodge looks like it could have well been a barrack, and you do see that some fine things have been moved from the house into the barracks, suggesting that perhaps the Count may have used this particular barracks as a way to get away from stuff in the household. You see, like, there's some big back chairs circling around a fireplace at the end of the hearth. You can see that there's a small book collection. You actually find a little bit of a whiskey collection in a dusty collection of bottles in one corner. Some long tables, and then there's some bunk beds in adjoining rooms. Not a lot of privacy, but it's been converted a little bit. It's its own freestanding building, and you guys are given sort of the run of it while you're here. It also gives you a chance to talk outside of earshot of perhaps your Master Ratimer. This has been days since you guys left Fallenstone. Ratimer, Joram, and Latara, as well as Undwin, are in the main house. Countess is obviously in her own house, and so Pauldra is there. And they stick the rough gladiators into their own house. The older half orc is instructed to bathe and to keep to wash and keep the dwarves under lock and key. They're given their own hut, or kind of like cabin. You don't think that it's as comfortable as the lodge that you were given. It's probably more of a jail house where they would put the unruly servants and slaves.
So, she kind of wants us to go splunking. But normally, I think you'd be a good fit for the splunking, but wings short of, flying right now.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna go inside, then excuse me, I will be joining Ugg, if you wouldn't mind giving me a ride. And we could probably use the dwarves. They seem the dark. The dwarves go caves, so call me crazy, but they would help.
I can still climb. It's just going to be hard.
Bortho, Old Whitey, and the driver, I forget his name, wander into the lodge. They take bunks that are not in the same room as you guys and are trying to keep out of your way. There is a bit of a division because you're gladiators and they're just the help.
So, yeah. Splunking.
The fuck does that mean? Does that mean going underground?
Right. Going into caves.
So why didn't you say it that way? Why do you gotta make it all complicated?
Because he's an arse.
Roger is not an arse.
Splunking is a far more nobilistic and educated, proper way of saying the word. Like right now, Widget needs to find a person who will make a smoking jacket for him. He needs a smoking jacket. He just needs
Roger.
one.
Roger puts out his heavy crossbow on the table and just sort of like points it in the general direction of Widget. You remember what this thing's called, right?
Yeah, another one thing out there with the name of something it doesn't do.
Fucking stupid gnome. I'll show you. This thing's gonna fucking misfire and your head's gonna come off, I swear.
Yep. Misfire. I mean, last time your thumb came off, so, you know.
Fucking still hurts when I think about it. It's all flat now. Like in the wrong way. This
Don't worry, when we get the magic that brings back the legs, we'll grow back my arm, and then we can cut your thumb off and grow a new thumb.
He doesn't like the sound of that. Fucking grumpy and pushing food around his plate. Well, actually, you guys haven't been. You're not at the feast yet, but there's a knock at the door. I put your dwarves in the room. Anything that you need in here. You're pretty sure the answer, the way he's looking at you, is no. You see, he's got a slaver's whip coiled at his side, and you notice that he has scars. Some of them are like brands on his shoulder. Like you could just start to see a bit of a scar underneath his leather tunic.
You need a dentist.
He's a middle-aged half-orc.
All right.
I think we're fine. Thank you very much.
He does not look pleased with having to cater to you guys, and just shuts the door roughly behind him. It's almost a slam.
He seems irritated.
Well,
Is it safe to come out? Says Bortho. The others sit at the end of the table away from the gladiators, but
Oh, I muted. I said, yeah, sort of. But you never know when your arm might fall off.
Bortho seems unsure of that. Old Whitey ignores you. The driver is probably not at ease with you guys, despite all these weeks and months that you've been traveling with them.
Yep. He's just eating his apple. So, Roger, Eddie, we know Ugg is going to come in the cave. I would spelunking seems like an appropriate kind of thing for me. You two interested in going down, exploring some caves, and on the common variety?
Well, okay, so let's take a look at who wants to go, and well, really need to know what we're going after, what we're looking for. I mean, I haven't been told anything. What time of day is this, Marty?
You arrive late in the day.
Do I usually cast anything on the lady at the end of the day? Like
You
cure light or something?
every 6 days. You cast your remove disease on her.
Remove disease. Okay. Actually, we're going to be going tomorrow, right? So I will take some time to go and speak to her.
Okay, a big-boned woman, halfling woman with a small army of very skinny hin carrying big piles of linens, pewter mugs, jars, wash basins, stuff for guests comes entering into the lodge. Excuse us, gladiators. I meant Polly. I run this place when the masters and mistresses are not around. Here's everything that you'll need during your stay, and if you need anything else, please come up to the servants' entrance at the back of the house and ask for me.
Of course, will do. Actually, there is one thing. Aunt Polly.
She walks right up to you. She hands off her big bundle of like linens that she was coming in here. There's the small army of halfling slaves are now making your beds and opening up shutters and getting rid of dust. They were not expecting visitors, so this seems to be work that they would have done ahead of time.
Right. I was. I know this is late, but it's actually quite important. Is it possible that we would speak with the Countess? This would. She would. I believe she would expect me to speak with her.
Dinner is at 6. The Countess will be in the drawing room at 5. You can go and meet with her then. Come in through the servants' entrance. Make sure that these wheels are clean. I will not have you tracking dirt throughout the house.
Not to worry. I make sure not to leave any disrespect where I leave.
You'll wait there. I shall ask the Countess if she will receive you.
Of course.
This woman is like...
No, I was like, I'm cool, Arlen's cool. Look,
yep.
If there's anything that you need from us or you find that we're not doing proper, please inform me and I'll make sure we follow it.
You were expecting water in the jugs or perhaps some sort of beer. Instead, it is freshly squeezed, slightly very tart and slightly sweet, also slightly chilled lemonade.
Yeah, you don't want drunk gladiators.
Kindly man.
You don't want drunk gladiators. Yeah.
Are the bottles of whiskey already on the table, or?
I don't know. How thirsty is Roger?
Yep.
Are we spicing up the lemonade?
She seems to look at the bottles, but she doesn't say anything, but she does not look pleased that you just simply have helped yourself.
Where did this wine come from? Isn't it our own?
No, Roger.
There was whiskey in the There was whiskey in the room.
Yep. Those bottles and cigars belong to the late Count. I shall make mention of this to the Countess.
Yeah.
Is there
We'll
any...
just cheers with the cigar.
Yep. Is there anything else?
We would have waited
No.
to clean up boots.
No, thank you.
Okay, you do notice that they put out like trays, like ash trays, and little freaking snippers for the cigars. Widget knows what these things are. Later on, you'll find that on your pillow is not a fresh mint, but a fresh rolled cigar.
Oh, this place is the best.
Hortensi's keeping the clipper.
Okay, the little little
he's
guitar.
not going to use it on cigars.
Okay, mark it on your character sheet that you've got a cigar.
Cigar clipper.
Yep. I don't know what they're called. They're probably.
Yeah, I'm just calling it cigar clipper.
We'll just call them maimers.
Okay, she says. Dinner is at 6. Some of you may want to clean up beforehand. I will have some of the farm hands who are just getting in from the field now to draw you some water.
No need. We can provide our own.
She nods. The tubs are out back.
Perfect. Thank you.
Please clean them out when you're done.
Not to worry. That's expected behavior. Unless we would be uncivilized.
Okay, she claps her hands, and it's almost like she knew how much time the bed should have been made in the small army of halflings, some of them better dressed than others, of all ages, kind of go toddling from this place. Some of them are taking some of the dirty linens and mouse traps and brooms and things and a little bit of trash maybe out of this place.
If only she was a gnome, that's a woman I could bring back to Mama. No?
One last thing. Please do not...
You heard me.
She says as she's about to leave, please do not bother the workers.
All right. We don't intend to. But,
And they
well,
shall not bother you.
Excellent.
She pauses when you...
What Tenzi can be somewhat bothersome if you know, just, you have a rat problem?
She's slowly closing the doors.
Thank you again.
Well, point him towards the rats then.
You will see what happens this evening. More Tenzi factor.
Okay. At 5, you go visit the lady. The lady is fine with seeing you. She does not seem to...
Hey, cowboy, what's up?
Space Cowboy, nerds.
Yeah.
That is Luke, by the way.
Exist.
Yet another one of our in-person players. Is anyone going with Arlen, or is Arlen just trying to have a secret meeting with the Countess?
Widget will go.
Yeah.
This is like Widget's best week of his life.
Okay. She has a... You are greeted with a scorn when she sees that there's dirt on the tracks of your on the wheels of your...
Prestidigitation.
Okay, so that makes the dirt not on the place anymore, but then now there's 2 piles of dirt beside your wheels.
Prestidigitated out the door.
Okay, so Arlen's sort of wheeling around. Kind of.
Shh. I would have done that as I got it.
She claps, and a couple of well-dressed halflings in little kind of suits come out, sweep the steps. One of them goes off and is going to dutifully sweep the steps.
Is your tailor on site, or is there someone you use?
We have servants that can sew.
Good to know. If they have,
I did not catch your name, she says.
Wilbur Whittlebeck, man.
And you must. And you are Arlen.
Correct.
She said that she would receive you, Arlen.
No, thank you. I'm glad you would.
How are we to get you up the stairs?
Widget, are you able to help me, or?
I suppose I could take care of this.
Is it easier for you if I make it on my way up or on my way down?
I'll bring you up. Widget's got a 16 strength, small size. If he needs to, he can cast full strength. So you just gotta.
Okay.
Arlen has a 14 strength on his own.
So the normal way when you take wheelchairs upstairs, you basically you go backwards up the stairs.
Yeah, turn backwards and pull.
Okay. Aunt Polly's got 2 halflings that are wiping the stairs down as you're going up each stairs, and she's just eyeing what's going on. When you're about halfway up the stairs, she starts slowly moving up behind you, and then almost like with a halfling-like dexterity, despite her sort of pear-shaped form, she nimbly kind of squirts by you and sneaks by you and goes down the hallway to where the drawing room is. She knocks softly on the door, and her tone with the Countess, it is so soft and so polite and so mewling, almost like an insipid politeness. Yes, ma'am. Of course, she says. And then she turns towards you with this stern look, like she could turn it on and off almost at will. And Arlen is half gets pushed by Widget down the hallway. The Countess is there. She's in a different dress. Sir Paldro seems to be attacking a plate of sardines off in the corner. You wish to speak with me, Arlen? That is good, Polly. Yes, yes, Count. Yes, Countess, she says. She closes the door behind you.
Thank you, Aunt Polly. Yes, Countess. Thank you for seeing me. I wanted to ask what you expect for us to find or do, as it will impact on how some of us will prepare for tomorrow. And I just wanted to be best fit for the task ahead.
Upon seeing some strange receipts for a wizard who crafted something called a golem.
A golem.
Yes, I suspect my husband has stashed something down in the Giantswell.
I see. Ah.
Now,
golem, knowledge arcana.
unfortunately, this crafter seems to have moved to the Imperial City, and I have not been able to successfully converse with him. Nor did my husband leave any notes about how to bypass such a guardian creature.
Arcane or engineering?
Arcana?
Yeah, what? Arcana.
17. The magical construct thingies.
Better than my 4. Construct.
They're made out of different types of materials.
Interesting.
I
Yes,
know
let's
that
go on, Widget.
this
Go on.
one he crafted into the likeness of his, well, boyhood hero, Sir Ambrose, she says with almost like a roll of her eyes. And that part of its construction was to hire a sculptor of stone. She's looking at her notes, not necessarily the receipt, but she's got her own.
I get a check for stone golem?
So a stone golem then.
With my 17 on golem?
Okay, you know what a construct is. A stone golem is a true golem, meaning that they are immune to magic unless you know the specific magic spells that either help them or hinder them. You know that stone golems are very expensive and are large statues that could pulverize an ordinary man.
They're very smashy.
There's something about a stone golem's gaze that makes you as sluggish as molasses.
And they kind of have a sticky look to them.
Yes, this must have been important for my husband to put aside such funds.
I don't, Alan, you don't have any golem magic, do you?
God damn it! I'm sorry. What was that? Widget?
You don't have any golem specific spells that you learned? Any tricks?
Actually, I need to study a little bit more about the golems. Madam, is there a library that perhaps we can use for a short time just to understand maybe a little bit more about them?
I'm afraid that the only things written around here will be family secrets for certain types of halfling stews,
Understood.
pies and mixes, and perhaps a similar one for the alchemy of beer.
These are some of the greatest secrets of all, I would say.
Yes, of
She
course.
says,
Golems,
if it is
then.
possible for us to simply bypass this creature, or perhaps take control of it somehow, I would hate for my family to have paid 55 talents for no reason. And then another, and she looks at her notes. Is that a 2? Yes. Yes, I do believe it was 20. And another 20 talents on traps.
Traps.
Yes.
Did you require a caster to build your traps, or are they some sort of big crazy mechanism?
It just says traps. Yes, it did not say specifically what kind of trap. But I do believe that both things were commissioned in the same area, says Sir Paldro. Yes, we came across these weird entries in our ledgers long ago, but we do believe that they are to do with this, and she points at the copied. I want to know what my husband hid there, and I want you to get it before other people do.
All right. So, don't get smushed. And don't smush the smusher.
Trickster.
And, but if you have to, I'm assuming it's a, we'll try not to, but, the golem might need to get broken.
We understand that the prize is more important to you than the golem, but the golem in itself is a prize. We will converse amongst our ranks and see what strategy we will take, with in mind that you do want to preserve this treasured guardian, and control it.
Yes, it would be a pleasant surprise for anyone who started poking around my family's business, as they've been doing as of late. And, well, I don't know. This thing must have value aside from growing moss at the bottom of Giantswell.
Quick question. If the trap has already caught some flies, will we be returning all the bits and pieces up? I mean, the golem has been there guarding. If people have been snooping around, you don't know how many of them didn't come back from the snooping.
I would certainly like to know the current state of all of these things, yes. I'm hoping that this is out of the way enough and obscure enough that, well, that poor old man that we left behind in Fallenstone may be the only one that knows. I did not like some of his friends, however.
No, the
Looked too interested in what we were doing.
Ricky McCreeperson was a bit of an issue.
She says, kind of like sipping some tea, as Marty is simulating that with Perrier water. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes, I'm just gonna grab some coffee now that you.
Mark is highly suggestible.
Mark did take a small snooze.
It was not a snooze. I was checking my eyelids for holes.
Did they pass?
I'm sorry we bore you.
They're still intact.
No, we're all old and have our true lives. And then, the desire to D&D sometimes is betrayed by our frail bodies. Frail, immortal shells.
So,
Is this enough to go on? Are you prepared not to get smushed? I assume you, Arlen, have the wisdom to choose which one of your fellows are trustworthy enough or skilled enough to go down there.
I'll make the proper arrangements with the group. No need to worry.
If there's anything that you need, you can simply just ask Aunt Polly. She has the run of the house. However, if you need any equipment, you should go and talk to Drusk. I understand that he is a emancipated gladiator.
Of course.
What was he called again in his day? Drusk the Hooked Horror. Yes, apparently he wandered around with some garish costume.
garish costume.
All right.
Luchador mask.
Okay, you.
I will. Thank you very much.
And Polly comes and politely kind of raps at the door ever so softly. Countess, the dinner will be served in 15 minutes. Very well, Polly. Thank you. She nods and sort of just looks at the two of you like, what have you two been up to? And everyone is invited to dinner. Is anyone being rude?
No, I do want
Not
to
on
speak
purpose.
with Aunt Polly, though.
Okay, you wheel out of the room. What is it, Arlen? I have much to do, she says.
Yes. No, I don't mean to take too much of your time. Just, we've been escorting the Countess for quite a while. We've been with her for quite a while, and there have been many, indirect. There are many issues and instances where we had to care for her and protect her from others. Just wondering if there's been anything here since the passing of the Count. Any intrusions or attempts at intrusions of late or of past that we should be aware of. This might influence us in the evening and our preparations for tomorrow.
This manor has been kept in tip-top shape.
Yes, I do not doubt that. I wish to know if anyone had attempted to harass or affect.
What is your relationship exactly with the Countess again?
Oh, we were protecting her along the way.
You're her guards.
Yes.
She
I
mentioned
understand.
something that you're her physician?
When needed, I can provide medical assistance.
If you're expecting trouble, I would hear of it, and so should Drusk. He's in charge of security around here.
Perfect. I was going to speak with him after, actually, and also to you.
Are we
Polly.
expecting trouble?
To be honest with you, when I'm working as a god, I always expect trouble.
Are you a god or a physician?
A bit of both. I'm actually a gladiator as well.
She's looking down at the chair and looking up at you. You can see the question kind of flash across her face. Like
He smiles a little bit. I can handle myself.
Yes, but it appears that you're defeated by stairs. I shall have an examination room, a comfortable place set up for the Countess, so that you may doctor to her and to her manservant on the main floor.
Much appreciated, and I also offer my services to you and all the workers under you.
She paused for a moment. She was going to give you a rude remark, but then she just stopped for a moment. Yes. You are some sort of priest?
Yes.
The last thing I want is for free-willed gladiators to give some of our workers... You notice that she's using the word worker, but she probably means the word slave. All sorts of ideas of grandeur. Drusk has worked very hard to make sure that they are all kept in line.
You may run your house as you see fit. I do not wish to change that. I only offer, say perhaps one of your workers is injured and is not capable of doing some of their duties. I may be able to relieve that and help them and help you in return.
Meanwhile, Mortensi's outside going, strike, strikes.
I only offer it to help you.
I shall keep that in mind, is what she says. You see she thinks for a moment, but she seems really reluctant to...
Sure.
This place seems to be compartmentalized.
Thank you again for your care and hospitality.
Yes. Have your gladiator servant here try not to scuff the stairs on your way down.
Arlen just...
Well, we'll cast a full strength. We'll fully pick up the chair over her head and carry him down.
Her eyes widen at this display of strength from someone so small. She doesn't give you guys much lip after seeing that while you're at dinner. There are a few scornful looks as you guys are a little bit rougher than perhaps other guests that she's used to, the nobility that would visit with the Count.
Is there anything that requires two hands to eat?
Yeah, if you grab the big haunch of the big wild turkey that is sitting at the center of the table, like you probably need 2 hands for the turkey wing. Looks like Mortenzi's already grabbed one of them.
Well, we'll grab the other one. And we'll make it work.
The Countess specifically asked for Arlen to sit near, kind of like to her left hand. Sir Paldro, he doesn't seem to care. Arlen's helpful towards his arthritis as well. Whereas the rougher and more dangerous looking gladiators seem to be guarded by this weird wall of humans from the Countess. Like there's a pecking order that got established simply by perhaps the whims of Aunt Polly at the dinner. The dinner is relatively uneventful.
Mortenzi, like almost at the beginning of dinner, drops a knife. Oops. Goes under the table and tries to stealth out with his plate of food.
Okay. Give me a stealth check. As you drop the knife, there's actually halflings running over to pick it up. You seem to be waited upon by many hin.
Hide in the crowd.
He escapes with them. Just double check this. Yeah. 36.
Okay, in an adjoining chamber, Mortenzi, you go out and you can see that there is a table set up for the servants, like Bortho, your driver. I forget what his name is. We'll have to go back to the tapes. And Old Whitey are.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. Now that you mention it.
Maybe I wrote it down somewhere. That's awful. The guy's been with you for months.
We just call him
your name now. You mean your name isn't George? George Whitcrow Biffy. Your name's George.
I wonder if we named him on one of the other maps. No, Driver 1. Maybe at the Dusty Bow? Do you get a name? Driver.
I don't think so.
Drakkar, City of
We've
Pagodas.
just been calling him Driver the entire time.
Hey, he needs a name. We'll rename him.
Rupert.
Trevor.
All right, so his name is Rory Driver. Okay. I don't know. His name's written on a little plaque.
Does that mean we can change people's names by changing their plaques?
Mortenzi snuck into like where the servants were sitting up to eat. It looks like the servants that were brought here are getting to eat. They're not necessarily being served on by. It's almost like a buffet style where there's a couple of pots of different stuff. The pots seem to be filled with the stuff that isn't eaten on the main table get to be put into the pots at the back room. I don't know if you're stopping there or you're continuing to sneak out of the manor.
Oh no, he's going outside.
Okay. You wander outside, actually sitting on the big steps out of the front door of the front manor, and you notice that he's eating is Drusk. You slipped out as a halfling was carrying a plate or a bowl of something that he had finished back into the house. You kind of slipped out of the door, and you're standing right behind this guy, and he doesn't see you.
He's gonna go share his good food with the dwarves.
Oh, okay. So you go find the dwarves. As you're approaching, you've lived a life of slavery, and your madcap ways have seen all sorts of bonds and restraints. This shed that you're going to, this cabin, is not a cabin. It is a prison cell, a freestanding cell. There's a heavy padlock on the door, a small barred window. There's like a slit where you could put things in out. There's a shed kind of along the side of the building where there's all sorts of implements of constraint. Straps, manacles, a couple of big old bullwhips.
Okay.
a barrel full of shovels and like backhoes or like hose and that sort of thing.
Okay.
It's like a half equipment shed, half
prison.
yeah.
Jail. Yeah. So he can't get the door open. There's a padlock.
Yeah, it's padlocked, but you could open the feed hole.
Yeah, he opens the feed hole. Psst. So Benius sends his regards in the abyssal.
The dwarves all kind of elbow their way to the front, and you can see all their hands trying to get to the food. They take turns, kind of putting their hands out, and they take as much food as you can give them.
He gives it all to them.
Ukog was the first one to say Zorbinius back to you. Zorbinius is what he says.
Yes. Oh, Benius. Yes. You will join me soon. Yes. Especially once I level up and learn Goblin.
They take the food and they you can hear them eating it. And one of them doesn't like it and spits it, or spits after eating it because it's probably finer than what they're used to.
Okay.
No gravel. This sucks.
Yeah, he then walks back in full view of everybody back to the kitchen.
All right. As you're walking up the steps, servants go round back. Says the ugly half orc.
My mistake.
You notice that he wears a wooden gladius on his belt. The wooden gladius has all sorts of weird runes on it, but he wears that on his belt. He's got a knife and he's got a bullwhip.
He goes back around. Okay,
he watches you go.
And he's filthy, by the way. He's just fucking filthy. He did not bathe.
All right, there's some fine conversation going on. They're serving slices of pears and this weird aperitif when Mortenzi trumps back into the room. A scoop of cream is put on top of the sliced pears, as well as a drizzle of something sweet and alcoholic.
Ooh.
In a brief moment when Aunt Polly isn't serving you, she says, "Arlen, this is the Countess, have you chosen who is going to go spelunking with you tomorrow?"
We have not had a chance to discuss this yet, Madam Countess. We will be doing that after our dinner.
Mortenzi gets a 31 to scoot out and get the ice cream to the dwarves.
Is there...
As you're starting the small train of freeing the fine food for the dwarves.
He's leaving the dishes so they know damn well what he did.
How did the fine dishes get here? Right. Yeah, your stealth is just amazing. So you're not having a problem doing that. Your absence might be noticed from the table, but there are no cries of alarm or burning burning smells or screams. So Mortenzi must be behaving. There's that fancy word again. There's that fancy word again, says Roger. I think it means to go underground. Who is going to go underground with you, Arlen? And why are we going underground?
Well, let's
We're
conduct
trying to subdue but not destroy a golem.
Countess, would it bother you if we actually to plan? Would you be interested in this, or would you prefer we do it after?
I prefer simply to know who is going and who is staying.
Well,
it's been a long road, gentlemen. I'm sure that you want to get a good night's sleep in a nice soft bed, comparatively to what we have been sleeping on the road here.
Yes,
as much as your healing magic is appreciated, a good soft bed and a long sleep is in need.
I totally agree. My back kills me after a few days of just well.
All right, you, says Aunt Polly when finally the aunt goes all the way up the steps and sees that you guys are lingering around and still licking your plates with all the cream. The tavern is open until 10 o'clock. Not a minute later. I need all of you to vacate the house. And she produces a key, and she gives the key to Arlen.
Yep.
Any damage to the tavern will be taken out of your hides.
Yes, ma'am.
She gives you the key, or the key ring. There's multiple keys on it.
Thank
And
you.
now she's shooing you out of the house to go to the tavern. The tavern seems to be an old, converted, kind of sunken into the ground with age stone building that has part of it rebuilt, kind of wood with these big
One sec.
outside bins.
Sorry, I'll be back in a few secs.
The tavern looks like it might have been at one time an old monastery.
Okay.
And you end up kind of exploring the monastery. There's not much, but just rows and rows and rows of a few tables, kind of at the opposite direction that pews would be in the old monastery. There's no longer any sort of godly symbols hanging in this place, but you do find a very large staircase that goes down into what is a kind of a cozy tavern with old, very well-worn tables and small padded seats. You all have to kind of like really jam in there. You find some tapped kegs of beer and enough steins for you to drink. There are the ashtrays and implements to smoke. And you find a box of a humidor, if you will. The other servants follow you down, and you're soon joined by this really old halfling.
What all I got to say? Give me a second, I'll get another one going.
Let's see. Let me find an old halfling. I guess we just make it an old man, and then we shrink it. Oh my. Let's see. The guy's got a really pudgy face, a bulbous nose. Who's down here? This round, red-headed halfling with a snowy beard. He's really pudgy. He doesn't even let...
Dread at your service.
Circus of what? Oh, circus of bread. Some of you look like you ate too much bread.
He goes over and pours himself a frothing mug. He kind of licks some of the frothing.
What are you doing all down here? Can't you see this is my office?
Obviously, we've come to do business, good sir.
The rotund halfling downs the quite heady, almost like Guinness-like beer in almost like a single, well-practiced sort of even
One even draw.
draft. Yeah, one even draw. And then he pours himself a second, which he then takes a lick of the froth like it's a ritual, and then sits down with his beer, sipping it as he goes. You're pretty sure that yep, he made it to his seat while not finishing the beer.
Well, look at all you.
Are you the one that enforces the curfew?
Oh, curfew. Yeah, curfew. Oh, I'm retired. I'm allowed a little nip here and to break the rules if I want to. Who else is going to teach them little gaffers how to roll them cigars? Who else is going to teach them how to brew the beer right? They call me Weezer.
Friends call me Widget.
Oh, Widget.
We have been protecting the lady, working a little bit on the side from the gladiatorial stuff.
Countess, she hasn't been here in a long time. Yeah, one of the halflings was running around here saying the Countess was back. She came here, long time ago. That was when the Countess was married. What you doing here for?
What do
You're here
what
to
do you mean when they were married? I thought the Count died.
Oh, no, that's the last time the Countess has been here. Count's been back here quite a few times. He grew up here, you know.
You've been around here for a while, based off of the color of your beard.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of the gray.
They get some suds in it again?
He grabbed his beard, but he's missing the suds that he did.
Yeah,
They're all in his mustache.
the mustache. So, when the Count was hiring some protections, way back when.
Oh, yeah.
You remember what kind of, what he got? Remember
I
the
remember.
names of people?
Yeah, he did spend the whole summer here one time. I found it kind of peculiar, given that he's the Count of Vied and he came here and summered and raid, but, nobles do as nobles do. Anyways. Oh, you're doing that wrong. You gotta light it after you cut it. Here, let him help you. Just cut the end. Cut it, no, too far. Ow, you don't know what I'm doing.
He's scolding Roger and Sam, who are not cutting the cigars, right?
Yeah,
It doesn't. It's not working. Air doesn't come through.
yeah.
You gotta punch it, or V-cut it, or give it a full-on snip.
He had a funny wizard type that came around here and did some work for him. Not too sure what sort of wizarding the wizard would do. They caught something in pieces, something awful heavy. Tricked it on down south. I don't know. Maybe something to do with the well. They had everyone in the fields, working the farthest fields. I remember. Them fences never been so mended. But, I was retired. It was my first year of retirement. Wait, what year is it? Anyways.
32.
32? Well, that don't make no sense. You must be far from here. No, I'm talking imperial calendar. 32.